Right, so we're back for episode number 3 of the Road to the NPC European Ifbb Pro Show. Today's going to be a little bit different. We are not going to be training on video because we have a shift in the requirements of what today is. Basically, training can change on a daily basis, and we've been called to train something that we have filmed already. So we don't want to bore you with that. So we're going to focus on some other factors of kind of the mindset, where we're at, some of the things that go on at home, and some of the more important things that you don't really take into consideration perhaps that actually happen outside the gym. 4 weeks out, been here many times before. So we're within the 28-day mark for the show. And without fail, every single time you get to 4 weeks out, something clicks, something changes. It's a mentality state, an energy state, an aura, a pressure, a level of stress and anxiety, a need to perform, and a sense of urgency, I suppose. So, you know, it doesn't matter how many times I've done this, doesn't matter how many times I've been 4 weeks out. Once I'm within that like 1 month countdown to the show, it's like Christmas is coming and pressure's on. I can't really pinpoint why. I don't know whether it's because literally physically energy is lower because of the diet, or because you're within a time frame that makes it feel like there's not a lot of time left in order to get everything done. It's something I'm very aware of, and you try your best before you get to this point in order to prepare for it, but one day you wake up and it's there. So my days are very different now. The energy since last week has changed dramatically. Positivity's still there, of course. Listen, mentality is always going to be strong. I'm always going to feel confident. I'm always going to feel like driven. But the overall kind of just levels of oomph are now starting to take a back seat, and what's taken over now is just how much do you want it? How much do you really want to get this done? Because the actual process now is starting to become tiring. Any of you that have been there, you understand that there's something about being within this period, this close to a show, that for some reason makes you feel like it's all or nothing and the world is now on your shoulders. And it doesn't matter whether it's a big show, small show, state show, national show, regional show, whatever the hell it is. If it's a big show to you, it's a big show to you. So the names are finally coming out on the list. The other athletes are posting up their pictures. Social media is starting to get a bit busier, a bit hotter with who's competing. It's getting ploughed in your, in your vision along the way. And now this is where it comes down to you and how you can take everything that comes at you and what do you give back? Like how do you fight those things that are being pushed towards you? Because you've got choices now. Choices of allowing the external forces to dictate how you feel, or you can take charge and make sure that you're impenetrable. So, you know, from experience, the objective right now is to try and become this immovable force where nothing bothers me. But as I've said before, it doesn't matter how hard you try. There is certain things that can get through those walls and get into the the inner sanctum of how you feel. And what do you do when that happens? How do you deal with that? For me personally, it's like, that's when I go to bed, that's when I lie down, that's when I reset the day, that's when I try to take a time out, take a moment out, put the PlayStation on, think about things that aren't bodybuilding, try and come away from it for a moment and try to kind of reset my mental state. Or talk to Patrick, talk to my coach, find something positive about how prep's going. I find that if I send Patrick pictures often on an update, the feedback, there's always something positive to be said, and that keeps me going. That keeps me feeling like I'm getting closer to the goal and I'm on the right direction, right path. It's a fine line between trying to balance being attentive to the decision to compete and focus on the goal, but also not being overly absorbed by it that it becomes so weighty on your shoulders that you feel that it's too much. And that's where the balancing act is now starting to kick in, because the pendulum's swinging. Because of course you need absolute focus. You need to be driven, and you need to know that the show is happening, and you need to be concentrating on that fact, because if you don't do that, you're not going to go in the gym and give it 100% every day. But at the same time, you need to enjoy your training, and you need to still enjoy it like it's the off season when there's no pressure, because that's how you perform your best. So it's a difficult time in a bodybuilder's kind of world. I think it's the most difficult time for me personally. Starting to get to that point where you don't really want company. People around you, you love them, but they jar you. And I will say that, I'll be honest. Small talk, there's no time for it now, because everything's about doing well, everything's about focus. So you feel like any conversation you have that's outside of the box of getting the job done is actually a waste of your energy, because you know that you only have so much. So, this is the truth of the bodybuilding when it gets to this point, and especially at a professional level when there's money involved and there's contracts involved and livelihood at stake. Even more on top of that, there's pressure of you to be someone who can do well when you've done well prior to this. And, it all adds up and it can escalate into something quite dramatic. But I'm willing to accept it, because I know that we're only just climbing the ladder as a professional bodybuilder, and that in time, these things will only get more severe. There'll come a day when you're expected to be able to pull off a win like the Arnold. There'll be a day when possibly running for the Olympia. And, the only way you're going to get there is through these stages that are prior to that, and by overcoming them. So, I'm just looking at it like it's a learning experience, it's a learning curve. I've been here many times before, as I say. And although it doesn't get easier, you get more used to being in this environment. To say it'd get easier is definitely not the case, because it's never easy. But it's just you being more comfortable with being uncomfortable that is what matters most. So I suppose what I can say about this point in time right now is that my comfort levels of being in this environment are better than previous. I'm very aware of it, and I feel it, and I can definitely taste the kind of pressure in the air around me, and I can actually feel that a lot of eyes are on me, especially with the social media and stuff. So, I wake up and Instagram's obviously something I try to get on every day and try to reply to messages. YouTube's obviously very busy and we try to keep on there. But at the same time, we're exposing ourselves, we're putting ourselves out there in the world, and comments coming in, eyes are watching, people are peering, people are making suggestions. And then that's where, like I said, it's down to me now to, embrace all the positivity and things people are saying, but at the same time, don't let them in too much, because the only person's opinion that matters is myself and my coach. So, yeah, really that's where we're at in regards to mindset. All right, guys, just going to run down the routine, and this is going to be very, very, very strict, actually, because it's just a reflection of what is. So right now, currently, we're waking up, 7 o'clock in the morning. We're weighing ourselves. We're preparing a concoction of supplements to take before we do cardio and heading to the gym. Cardio is getting done pretty much within an hour of waking up. I hit 3 rounds of posing as well once at the gym, and then we come back and we start to prepare breakfast for the day. Breakfast is usually eaten by about 9:30, 10 o'clock latest. 2 hours from that point, I will be onto my second meal, preparing my fish potato meal. It's pretty much always the same. A couple of hours after that, around about midday, sorry, not midday, probably closer to 2 o'clock actually, for you guys that want to know when, I would start to eat meal 3, which would be roughly an hour before training, which is going to be chicken and typically rice. So really basic food. Same order every day, nothing changes. Do those, head to the gym for about 3 p.m. and then we'll train until probably maybe 6:30, 6:30, something like that, and hit some posing after training if that's required, which it normally is. And then I'm back home again, eating a few more meals into the late evening. Sometimes there's cardio in the evening again. It could be as late as 10 p.m, 11 p.m. I tend to wait till the gym closes, just so that I have no one around me, because I like to be on my own. And then the last meal is normally around about midnight, and we go to bed and we try and get fresh for the morning. So really basic routine, but it's the same thing every day. The only difference being if that's a rest day, there's obviously no training, and I'll try to fill up the day with some other activities, maybe a light sunbed or physio. So trying to keep on top of all those things that matter. Physically where we're at, weight's doing pretty good. I was 278 pounds this morning. I actually quite liked how I looked this morning, so I decided to take pictures and send them over to Patrick, which normally I wouldn't do after fasted cardio. I normally send my pictures either in the evening after cardio or after training. So I must be getting a bit brave now, because I'm sending pictures in what I consider my most vulnerable state. But it's good because it's showing him me at my most depleted. Things are coming along nicely, the physique's looking tight. Patrick feels that in 2 weeks we'll be crispy. And obviously 2 weeks means 2 weeks out. So that gives us enough room and time then to manipulate things in order to kind of, I suppose, land the craft as smoothly as possible into the show. So he did say to me on the message, the next 2 weeks is going to be probably the most difficult in terms of energy and, effort, because now, like I say, we are running on almost fumes. Most days are low days now. There's not many high days here or there. They're sprinkled in very rarely. and cardio sometimes double. Training's very frequently now, so you know the rest days are far and few. So really we're just burning a lot of calories, and we're in the gym a lot, doing a lot of effort, and it's showing in the physique. So it's all output, not a lot of rest. Take the naps when I can. Like just before we kind of got even set up for this video, you know, I found myself upstairs having a 20-minute nap just to kind of charge myself up for this. And it's the same for training on a daily basis. I'll find myself having a nap even after the morning cardio just to kind of get myself primed, ready to go to the gym and actually do some hard work. There'll be a lot of you watching this video and think, oh, it's a hard life, isn't it, for a pro bodybuilder who gets to sleep all day and, you know, not do a lot. But, you know, one thing I can be very sure of is that when I do this, I do give it my all. And when I train, there's not many people that train as hard as I do. I'm not saying there isn't people, because there definitely is, and I have a lot of friends that do, but like, believe me, the amount of years I've been doing this and the amount of experience I have and the amount of understanding of training, the potential to tap into, you know, those final reserves for me is something that I'm very able to do. And I basically do nothing on the gym floor. I empty myself and I go home and I'm absolutely tanked. There would be no ability right now to juggle a regular physical job on top of this. And for those that do, yes, I admire them, but my question would also be that if you're trying to be a professional bodybuilder, have you managed to, you know, move things around in your life in order to prioritize the goal and the vision? And I suppose what I'm trying to say is the point of this video is we haven't even discussed training. We're talking about everything that's not even in the gym. And that's because that's the easy part. You know, going to the gym and lifting weights takes a couple of hours of your day. What's really the most difficult part, and the part that people find most hard to kind of stick to and follow suit, is the, you know, the meal planning, the rest, the preparation of food, the preparation of supplements, the preparation of you know, even mindset before the gym, and just basically monitoring and doing all the little things that are the big things that will lead to the best result. Because you can train as good as you want, you can be an excellent trainer, but if everything else in the 20 hours rest of the day is not in place, then you're going to sell yourself massively short on the potential to be your best. Right, so we're going to leave it there. Hope you have enjoyed the subject matters of today. I know they're a little bit different, but we thought it'd be nice to also give you a little bit of an insight into some other stuff. The next one will probably be a session. We'll probably be back in the gym hitting a body part that we haven't yet. So it could be a quadricep session, could be a hamstring session, who knows, but it'll be something different for sure. And we'll go into some perhaps more of the other kind of details that are prevalent in prep. So yeah, thanks guys. 4 weeks out, it's going to be a banger. Going to go hard and make sure that we don't mess up, because there's no time for that shit. And yeah, have a great day and thanks for watching.